The first thing I've had to do is find a good clean line to abseil down to try and minimise the risk of any rockfall when I pull the ropes down. The second thing I need to do is find a nice, obviously solid anchor, which is preferably well back and quite high above the descent. This means that I can safely organise the anchor, set up the rope, throw it down without being too close to the edge. What I'm going to go do now here is tie the rope into this pre-threaded bit of tat here. There's a very large boulder here which is undoubtedly solid. I've put this around it. This is called accessory cord. This is 6mm thick. It's quite cheap and therefore we carry it for just this kind of thing. What I've done is actually already flaked the rope out, so I've got the halfway point in that, and I'll put that through my accessory cord first and then tie a knot in it so that it's already threaded for the abseil. What I'm also trying to do is position the anchor and knot so that it's minimising the chance of anything snagging when I pull it down. So if I tie my overhand knot where my hand is now, it's beyond this edge, so hopefully I'll avoid any friction. That's a straightforward overhand. It's properly dressed and I've pulled all 4 strands here to make sure it's nice and tightened up. I have nice long tails on it, they reach about 30 centimetres long. So before I throw the rope down, what I'm going to do is actually back stack it so that the tails are on the very top of the pile, and I need to tie a knot on each end as well. So here's the ends. I'm going to tie an overhand in each one and I'm going to keep them separate. Nice and tight, that won't come out. Nice and tight, that won't come out. So that'll stop me abseiling off the end. I'm ready to throw the rope down, but to do that I'd actually like to be closer to the edge so I can see down. Now that I've tied off this anchor, I want to make myself safe so I can do that. We're actually going to abseil off a sling on our harness. So I'm going to lark's foot this sling onto my harness, onto the belay loop there. And when I do that, I'm going to make sure that this sewn part is not within the first 20 to 30 centimetres of this sling here. Because I'm now going to tie a knot here, either an overhand or a figure of 8, to create a loop that I'll put my belay device onto ultimately. So at the moment I've got a sling attached to my harness which I can now clip into my anchor. What I need to be careful of here is that I don't fall onto this sling and shock load it. This is not stretchy, it's static and it will break. So I need to get down below my anchor and tight to it. And that's perfect because that's exactly where I need to be now to throw the rope down. I'm going to take the tails and just do a few lap coils, enough that I get a bit of weight to throw down the line of the abseil. That'll do. I'm going to give a little shout to make sure there's no one down there. Rope below! The rope's down now, I'm ready to set up my abseil. Get my belay device out. I'm going to clip it into this lower loop here and put the ropes into the belay device as normal. So the dead rope is going to come out the grippy side of my belay device, like so, and I'm going to get that quite high up now, like that, staying tight in the lanyard. So I've got the rope down there. I can see that it's gone down most of the line, but I'm not 100% convinced if it's gone full length. So it's likely I'm going to have to manage the rope as I go down. Help me do that, I'm going to have to put a prusik on here so that if need be I can at least take one hand off or even 2 hands off to manage the rope. So I'm going to put the prusik on this dead rope here. That means that any load that the prusik is taking just needs to be sufficient to lock off the belay device rather than putting on the live rope, which would mean it would actually taking my full body weight. I'm going to use a screw gate carabiner for that. And the prusik I'm going to use is a French prusik, so I'm going to start by wrapping around. And back into the carabiner. So the good thing about this prusik is it will release under load. So what I want to do before I go is actually check that that prusik is working without loading this sling here. And I can see that put my weight through there, that is definitely working. And I also want to check that I can release it. And I can. So I'm ready to go, bar my last checks. I need to make sure that everything is done up properly. So I generally start from the anchor. I can see the anchor is tied off properly. I've got a nice overhand there. Working through the rope is through the accessory cord. Coming to my belay device, the rope is definitely through the belay device, threaded correctly. My carabiner's done up. The carabiner's in the correct place in the sling. The sling is correctly attached to the harness, and the harness is done up properly. The last thing is my prusik is working. I've already checked that, so I'm now good to go. I release the lanyard. My hand is on the dead rope. I'll just clip that to the rope out the way. And the last thing I'm going to do is just make sure that the abseil rope is sitting in position where I want it, so that it will pull easily when I get down to the bottom. And that's sitting nicely where it is. So I'm now ready to go.